So today we're going to look at this thing. It's the PORTXVNSA SA5. So it's 100K to 5.3 GHz spectrum analyzer. This has been sent to me for free by Banggood for purpose of review. So we'll have a look at this. Got a manual, we'll have a quick look at that before we dig into the box. Decent looking manual, shows the screens and the structure of the menu system. It actually looks like a pretty good manual actually. Markers, storage features, configuration menus, mode menus, signal generator. It's got a signal generator in it. You can do some limited generation I think. And revision history, that's nice. Doesn't say a lot about what actually the revisions are, but it says like 2023 there for the last revisions a couple of years ago. Here's the actual unit. So it's got a really nice case. So we've got a USB-C here, we've got an SD port, we've got a 3.5mm jack there for some things, probably an audio output if you're doing zero span stuff. Power switch, jog dial, clickable. We've got a CAL port and an RF port, SMA connectors. Maximum input is plus 6 dBm, 5V DC. Watch out for DC inputs. DC inputs tend to blow things up. So that's what the back of it looks like. So it looks like it might be in two bands, 100 kHz to 800 MHz and 800 MHz to 5.3 GHz. So I've had similar units to this, well not exactly the same, but much smaller ones like the Nano VNAs and things like that. I've got a couple of those. And I've also got a proper spectrum analyzer on my desk here as well, the SSA 3021X, which has actually been upgraded to a 3032X Plus. So I've got that, and I've also got the CMU 200 by Roland Swartz, and I've also got an HP 8590, which I don't tend to use. I've got it out in the other room there, but it drifts all over the place. It's just not very good, that one. Takes ages to warm up. So other stuff in the box here, we've got a joiner, looks like. SMA to SMA joiner, straight through for doing loopbacks, and we've got some SMA cables here. SD card sitting in there as well. We've got an antenna, and we've got a charging cable and a little stylus pen thing to use on the screen. Though generally with these sorts of touch screens, you can do them just fine with your finger. I mean, I don't find I need to use that. I mean, if you need to use really fine detail, you can, I suppose, but I prefer to use my finger. Well, fingernails. If you've got fingernails, it's fine. If you don't have fingernails, you know, I tend to have my nails a little bit longer, so I can actually attach them and use them on touch screens. And also got a different kind of touch stylus. Got one of these types instead. And wait for it, I think there's another one. Then we've got one of these ones. We've got like 3 of them. Choice of 3. Yeah, I don't know why you need 3 of them, but that's what came with it. I suppose I could put the SD card in, couldn't I? Might as well. Unless of course it sticks out the unit, in which case I probably don't want to put it in. Sometimes they stick out the side of things. Which way up does it go? Let's find out. That way. It stays flush, that's fine. That can stay in. So that's the box. Nothing else under there. Let's power this thing up. So before we power it up, let's do a screen peel. Here we go. Okay, let's turn this on. There we go, there's the screen. That's the boot up time, it's really fast. And just like any other of these little micro devices, I suppose, you've got the menu systems and stuff in them. So you do the various presets and frequency settings and what have you. So if you've ever seen one of these before, or either looked like Nano VNAs, stuff like that, the user interface is basically identical. But you can do so much with these things, but it's actually going to be really hard for me to cover most of it in the video, to be honest. So we'll look at the menu system, presets. Maybe I will use a stylus just for the sake of the camera, okay? Because then I'm not got my finger in the way. Preset. Right, so all the presets here, you can save presets, load them from the SD card if you want as well. So we've got nothing in here right now. Frequencies. Start 915, stop 922, so I've been playing with this. I don't think there's anything around these frequencies on here, so plug an antenna on. The one that came with it, this little one here. we'll stick this in. We'll see if it's picking up anything at this particular frequency range with these current settings. There's nothing really there. Nothing there. Oh, I saw something just then. But anyway, let's do something different. Let's do, say, 2 GHz start, and then 3 GHz stop. It's a bit slow because I'm covering gigahertz, so I can actually narrow this down a little bit. Let's go, say, 2.2 gig. There we go. Look, we're seeing something there. And let's go, say, 2.8 or something. Yeah, 2.7. So these be Wi-Fi or Bluetooth devices, that kind of thing. Now, because I've got quite a broad span here, it's going to be a bit slow. Resolution bandwidth is an auto. You can set different bandwidths, say if you want to speed it up, depending on what your span actually is. It may or may not get faster, depends on what the auto bandwidth actually comes up being as. Like if I did say 100 kHz instead, you'll see this is going to be a lot slower. You can see the progress bar on the bottom there. Right, because, yeah, there we go. But now you can see much more detail. When it's there, you can see you've got the main carrier and you've got the sidebands on it as well. So anyway, but auto. I may be a bit bad with the stylus because I'm actually looking at what I'm doing through the camera. Video bandwidth, auto as well. Set those if what you want. You can do a shift as well. So if you've got a mixer you're going through or something like that, you're trying to up mix or down mix, you can add that offset into here, and then you can allow for that offset. Very useful for doing that kind of stuff. Turn it back off. Marker center. Well, yep. Let's shift the bandwidth. The item of interest. Signal generator, calibration output. So calibration output is this one. So you can loop back. See, it's got a little diagram just here for doing cals. So you can loop back and do calibration stuff on this. And signal generator is using this same port, interestingly. Not quite sure what the ranges are, what we can do. What can it do? You can do gigahertz? What's the max it can do? It can do 2 gigahertz, really? Okay. That's interesting, kind of surprising. So I'm surprised the output can be the same kind of thing as the input. Actually, see what can this? Each time I touch it, it goes down. Oh, maybe go back. Is this? Oh, that's what it's because I'm touching here. So go minus 10k. Yeah, minus 100 plus 10. Okay, and then set. Right, that's subtle, isn't it? So let's do 5 gig. Can it do that? Upper level reduced. It can apparently, but at reduced level. Right, that's interesting. Maximum output level, minus 18 dBm apparently, is the most it can do. So modulation, as you can see, AM, FM, frequency, AM depth, FM deviations, that's nice. You want demodulated signals, so you want to generate a source for that, that's quite good actually. Sweeping options, starting sweep, external gain, so I suppose it means you've got an external amplifier, you can allow for that. Maybe, I'm not sure. I'll put off, yeah, it is off. Back to patch analyzer. Then we also have the jog dial over the side here, so you can use this for various functions. Pull up the menu, you can jump through menu items, you want to use this instead of the stylus. So when I got a frequency, let's do that again. Let's do a 1 gigahertz span. Let's do start of, now to use stylus I think. Oh, I can still use that. Okay. If you really want to do this, you can do it that way. I'm not sure it's any easier than using the screen, but that one and go. I'm just going to touch the screen, it's quicker. It's just easier. So now I'm doing 1 meg to 10 meg. Probably not much happening around here. And you can also do 0 spans as well if you want to do 0 span. And you also got, let's try this. Let's do 430 meg to 445 meg. So I'm not quite sure how this is relating to the screen right now, so I think that line there is like a demarcation line. Let's do another band. Let's use the stylus again in this case. Start. Let's do 862 meg with a stop of, let's do 880. Let's do 880 meg. So now you've got 3 sections. It's interesting. Let's do another one. Back. Another band. Let's do 910 meg to 930 meg. It looks like it is covering those individual sections of the bands. I might have to see if I can test for this. And let's do 2.3 meg, 2.3 gig up to say 2.5 gig. So it looks like it is actually picking up here, like you can see the markers here, 946, 2.4. So it does look like it's actually just scanning across the whole range and only scanning the bits that you've selected. So if you want to have multiple areas of interest, then that's really good. And that's something I've actually liked the idea of. There's many times I want to monitor several different bands or several sets of frequencies and not wanting to scan the whole range because it's just slow. So this is a way of getting it faster and still monitoring several bands at once. That's nice. So I just turned on this alternate, I guess that means alternating option, and now it's actually jumping between each one on screen. So you can see the full thing on screen, and you can see it stepping between each one in turn. So that's nice. So you've got options there about how that works, all at once or individual on screen. Bands to SD, okay, I guess it saved it to the SD card, but yeah, I haven't named or anything, so I haven't done that. That's fine. So you can store it to the SD card. That makes sense. Okay, so that's that part. Actually, let's go back in here, turn off multiband, go back to single band again. Levels, so reference level setting, you can adjust it manually if you want. Scale, so division ratios and stuff. Built-in attenuator, manual, should be an auto really, I think I was playing with it before. Then you manually set it. I think that's because I was trying to monitor a very weak signal and so I turned the attenuator off. You can do units, how you want to scale it, depending on what you're doing. External gains, if you're using a preamplifier or something before this unit. LNA, it'll turn on the amplifier which is built into this unit and give it more gain. But you have to be careful with that because you'll easily overload it if you've got a strong signal coming in. So only turn it on when you need it. Triggering, you can choose how it's triggered, if there's any particular options you want. Beeping. I don't know. Don't ask for. Listen. I guess that enables that socket on the output there. Usually you need 0 span if you want to try and monitor a particular frequency. Traces. Enable traces. You've got multiple traces you can have if you want. There's trace 2 if you want to do that. Enable trace 2. If you want to do multiple traces you can do that. Back to trace 1. Depends on what you want to configure that as well. I mean there's trace, put up to trace 2. That's green, it's not really sharp too well, that colour. Let's go different colour. If I freeze that trace, there we go. So if you're trying to monitor something and actually you want a reference, you could use that for using references. Okay. Display options. You can pause it if you want to monitor something, just have a look, analyse it. Or you can do a single sweep, just do a single capture. Right, big number, I don't know what that does. Oh look, there we go, big numbers. So instead of having the small information up here, you can see it bigger. Could be useful. Draw a line. If you want to have like a reference line on the screen, I'm guessing. So I don't know, 20M. Guess it's up there. Minus 20. Let's do minus 20 then. I don't know. Just leave it off. I mean, that was the line across the top there. Sweep points, so you can choose how many points, so the less points you use, the faster it will go. Right? Well, obviously you're going to lose a lot of resolution. So if you just want to try and capture something quickly, but you're not worried about accuracy, you can actually reduce the sweep points and get a much faster speed on it. Sweep accuracy, normal, precise. You want more precise readings. Fast. Maybe a little quicker. Noise source. Don't know what that is. I don't know what those do either. Okay. Rotate display, so you want upside down. You can do that. Lock display. Not going to do that. Markers. Now we've got two markers, so it will find the 2 points which are highest or more. Measurements, so you can do harmonic measurements and things like that. I don't have anything set up, so I'm just going to ignore that for now. And it seems to have upset it. Measure. IP3, I've got no idea what it does. Mission left and right signal, so I'm not quite sure what those are for. There's lots of things I just don't have a clue about because these aren't what I do. Signal to noise, 3 dB point, got more options here. AM, FM, channel power, noise figure, THD. So if you need those kinds of things, they'd be useful to you. For some reason it's changed it to some kind of audio band. There we go. Now we can see what's going on. Storage, so you can save configurations and load configurations. If you have a certain way you set this up for certain features and certain uses, then you may want to save those settings so you can reuse them time and time again. That certainly makes sense. Also save traces and stuff like that as well, and captures. Auto naming, right, because that does it by date and time or something. Configuration, so configure the touch, I'm not going to mess with that. Version, let's have a look at this. There's a version information. I was reading it myself. Kernel version 4. Okay, so it's really information about this, and apparently date time, which is actually correct. Right. Spur removal. Also you got level colours, and I'm going to do those right now. Sample repetitions, so you want an averaging sort of thing. Screen brightness, date time, which is actually correct, so I don't need to do that. I think I may have already said that. Ultra mode is the higher band above 800 MHz. Jog step. If you want to do automatic, you want to set certain levels for this to actually, like the jog dial to do. Level corrections, expert config. Let's have a look at this. Progress bar is nice. Direct mode, linear averaging, yeah. Harmonics, frequency correction, so if it's slightly off, you can change that. Dumping the firmware, nice. Hand bands. Internals, let's have a look at this. ADC, LNA active, bandpass filter, below IF, IF frequency. Nice, so lots of little things in here. Oh, there's more. Ultra start auto, so you have to turn it on manually each time. Okay. Harmonic start. Sleep rate harmonics more, there's more. Debug. High 21 MHz, I guess that's some kind of internal frequency it's using. So I think that's all those screens. Is it accurate? Don't know, let's find out. So I've hooked up a coax cable here to my Marconi signal generator here. I'm currently generating 10 MHz at minus 107 dBm. So let's actually see what we're getting on here. Now right now you can see nothing. We're down at 94 on the noise floor. So let's come in here. I've set this to be 5 MHz through to 20 MHz in the span. So let's turn on the LNA. There we go. We can see something now. It's only still right, you know, close to the noise levels and stuff like that. So, but it is there. Let's increase this output power. Alright, so there's minus 90 dBm output there now, and you see we're getting that kind of level. So let's actually just reduce the span a bit. Try and get it a bit more precise. Just wanted to see if it comes out the noise floor or not. So let's do I don't know, 12 MHz and 8 MHz. So it's got a 4 MHz span. It's sitting there quite nicely now. So let's try and span down to say 1 MHz around that centre point. Should get a bit more accurate, a bit more precise. Yep. I mean, we are going to get a little bit of loss through the cable and stuff like that, so we'll be getting something. So not being exactly 90 as expected. Let's drop this down to more, 0.5 meg. Just want to see if this level gets more accurate as the span gets closer, because it's trying to average it all out and not scan so much. So you know it's coming up occasionally as sort of 90 does then. So let's make it 0.1 meg. There we go. See, it's also changed the rate as well. So it's using the auto resolution bandwidth and stuff, so it's changed to a lower one. But you can see the accuracy of the frequency here is looking really good. Level's also looking really good now. We've got that sort of level. So I've got that set with a 200 Hz bandwidth. So you can see how slow that scan is now. But you see how much detail's in there. Now this is an AM modulated signal. It's 30% modulated AM. And you can see the level is looking pretty good. So let's make the span even narrower. Let's go 50 kHz. So you can see what we're getting now. You can actually see the carrier and each sideband as well. So let's go even narrower. So 20 kHz. So there you go, there's that detail. So frequency and levels are looking good. Let's change to an FM modulation, shall we? FM of say 10 kHz modulation. So you should see both sidebands there. Here we go. So the whole thing is now a bit of a mess because of the way it's scanning it and the bandwidth I've got there. Let's do 5 kHz. Should be a bit less messy, hopefully. I think I've only got a span of 20. There you go. Now you're starting to see the bandwidth there. There you go. FM modulated. So now I've gone back to AM and I've actually turned the modulation off, so now all we see is the carrier itself. And so we're seeing 89.9 dBm there, and frequency is looking pretty accurate. It's looking pretty good. So that's looking fine. Let's try high frequency. So now I've gone up to 500 MHz, and you can see again the frequency is looking really good there for that carrier, and the level is also looking pretty good. It's actually slightly higher, so we're getting a little bit more loss. So we get about 1 dB of loss thereabouts to the cable, which is expected. So let's do 1 GHz next, which is as high as this particular generator can go. Let's jump over here, set the center to 1 gig. And because I've got this really fine resolution bandwidth, it's quite slow. I might actually change that. But I also want to see how it comes up as first. There we go. Level's quite good. Frequency's quite good. Okay, let's change the resolution bandwidth. Back to auto. Looks like it's still going to go really slow. I've still got the amplifier turned on. I should probably turn it off and see how that changes things as well. Yeah, still slow. Okay. Because of the width I've got here. So let's do a faster sweep with 10 kHz. Here we go. but that's the resolution. You only get that kind of resolution bandwidth with the span of only 20 kHz. That's why it needs to be much finer detail. Let's go back to 1 kHz, that's probably good enough. There we go. Alright. So put it back to auto, and we shall look at, what was the other thing I was going to do? I can turn the amplifier off, wasn't I? Level, LNA, turn that back off, and we'll see what happens to this with the LNA turned off. So it's still reporting 90 dBm. So accuracy is really good with or without the LNA. Nice. Down there, that's a reference to the divisions on the scale here, because you've got 10 divisions across the scale. I'm going back up to the 2 GHz range right now. You've got 1 GHz span, it's saying 100 MHz. So I think that's the division ratio. I'm guessing up here, it's also saying the dBm, 10. So I'm guessing that's 10 dBm per division. That's what those are indicating. It clarifies that part. So this is looking at the Wi-Fi frequencies right now. We can see the various Wi-Fi channels popping up. So I'll just set this thing to be 5 GHz to 6 GHz. Now it's supposed to say 5.3, alright? And you can see you've got a big step here, but we are seeing 5.8 GHz Wi-Fi signal here. So although it's 5.3, I guess that means that's like the guaranteed accuracy sort of stuff, and above that it's, I'm guessing that's 5.3 there. You've got 100 MHz per division, so you've got 3 divisions there, 3.5 divisions, yeah, so that's 5.3 point there. Still some functioning above that point, but it's not right. I guess it's some kind of conversion or something it's doing there to get to that. I'm actually quite surprised it does it. What's the max we can get out of this? Okay. Is it just going to do it regardless? It looks like it is. The firmware's capable of doing a lot more. So maybe stop 12 GHz stop frequency. So it looks like it actually may work up to 12 gig, but with reduced accuracy. Look at that, just, yeah, okay, so it is capable, but not really usable, I think, above that point there. So let's go back to 8 gig. Oh, tapped the wrong thing. Oh no. What am I doing here? 5. I think it's because I'm touching it a bit too gently. So 5 to 8 gig I've got set up again now. And there we go. So I think that is actually 5 GHz Wi-Fi. Now I do actually have a signal generator which is capable of generating up to 18 GHz. Now the problem is this thing weighs about 40 kilos and it's a massive box, and it's out in my other room there, and it's a bit of a mission to go and get it and drag it in here. So I'm not going to demonstrate that, because that would actually be nice to see if this could do these 5 GHz frequencies, but I've got no sources here in this room that can do that. I don't know, I think I'll spend enough time on this. You get an idea of what this can do. It's a spectrum analyzer. That's one feature I wanted to show you, actually, which I haven't shown. Somehow I missed it. How did I miss that? I was going to cut it off then, but actually I'm going to wait a bit longer. Let's do 860. Go back to that band again. And 900 meg. Somehow I missed showing you this. Waterfall. Somehow I missed that one. This is one I find quite useful myself from various devices. So if you've got any kind of frequencies around, you can see on the waterfall diagram here what you've got. If you miss like a little spike, you will see it on display. So let's try this again on a different frequency and stop at 2.6 gig. And you'll see you're getting these little bits popping up, and then in the waterfall you see, so you had a little signal then for a second, and it jumps around. And obviously the faster your scan rate is and the narrower the width is, the more accurate this will be. But if you've got some activity, you can see quite clearly that there's something going on in that particular band, so then you can know, hey, I want to focus more on this one and narrow it down to that particular range. It's quite useful. Thanks a lot, Bangor, for sending this to me at no cost. That's appreciated. The links down below, obviously. This is a really nice little unit. I mean, I've had the Nano VNAs and the TinySA, whatever it's called. I mean, they're okay, but the construction isn't anywhere near as nice as this. This feels like a proper unit. It doesn't really feel like a project, you know. This actually feels like a decent product. I highly recommend it. Seems good. Does what I think it should do. Obviously, I've barely scratched the surface about what this thing can actually do. You know, these things are really limited by imagination. You can check for attenuators to make sure they're working correctly. You know, you can run them through and check the attenuations. I don't know if you can use the cow as an output for doing it. I'm not sure. There's all sorts of things you can do with these. I mean, I'm sure people could comment down below and say, hey, I've used this for whatever it may be. You know, you can do, there's a trick you can use this for, whatever it may be. But obviously, spectrum analyzer is the main thing, and seeing what's around. You can use them for various activities. And in fact, it goes up to over 5.3 GHz. Is pretty cool. Amazing what technology can do these days in such a small little box. Obviously, there's compromises with things like this. You know, it's not the same as a proper bench one, but I think for most people this would be perfectly adequate. It works fine. I think there's also software you can use with this as well. To be honest, I haven't even looked. I don't tend to plug things into my computer to use them anyway. It's not really what I like to do. I do have equipment where I do have that as a requirement. These sorts of things are probably meant to be standalone, really. Maybe you get extra functions by plugging them in, but I don't know. Subscribe over there if you're not already subscribed. Patreon support link over there. If you want to help support the channel long term, donate a little bit of money, a couple of dollars a month. That's all it is, a couple of dollars a month. And it helps me out knowing I can buy test gear to do videos about fixing them. Catch you later.